Welcome back. As the nation focuses on the increased production of cassava as a means of further developing the agriculture sector in Cross River State, the state appears to be one of the states that will help in this regard. Most of the produced cassava is used in making different kinds of cassava flour for consumption. These include gari, fufu, and tapioca. Cassava farmers in Okoyong and Udukbani local government area of Cross River State are appealing for support from both the state and federal government for a boost in their trade by providing them a befitting market and access to grants. Our community report tonight takes us to Okoyong community, where virtually every home is directly involved in fufu, a staple food made with a flour made from the cassava plant, and the business is a means of survival.
Now you're talking.
The presidential initiative of Cassava 2007 through 2009 produced few commercial farms. However, Cross River State ranks among the highest cassava producing states in Nigeria. An average production of 16.58 tons and 19.92 tons per hectare was recorded in 2009 and 2010 respectively, and an annual production of 5,943.53 and 6,030.22 metric tons in the same period. In Cross River State, South Nigeria, a community approximately 40 minutes drive from Calabar, the state capital, has been into cassava farming for over 3 decades.
If the government is able to help those of us in the villages know that, look, we can access, or there is loan, or we can get loan to buy the machines for grinding the cassava, I think it will help.
In Okoyong, Odukpani local government area of the state, fufu business is their specialty and has been passed from one generation to another. The men, women and children of this community are all engaged in the active production of fufu, in which the process, according to them, involves strenuous human activity.
Everybody has offered here. We only do something at least to have something to eat. We don't have anything that you say access to carry and produce something.
The fufu market, which holds every second Friday of the month along the Calabar-Itu Expressway, poses a huge risk on both sellers and customers who travel from neighboring states of Akwa Ibom and Rivers to patronize the produce. A befitting market, according to these small-scale farmers, could encourage more participation in the business to enhance greater output. Here in this community, expanding on their major trade is also a challenge, as capital seems to be their foremost limitation.
I'm not happy, honestly speaking. I won't lie to you.
They accuse the state government of exempting them from accessing rural credit.
As we are here working, we don't have any other help from government so that we can make it very well. In fact, we suffer too much because some other farmers, they have a chance to collect loans from government, but along here, we don't even have something of such. That's why it's hard for us even to train our children.
In its defense, the Cross River State government says it does its bit to encourage these traders.
So most of them that are complaining to you are not registered farmers. And we have several, like the cassava woman that was complaining to you. We've been announcing, there's a Cassava Association of Nigeria. We've been announcing that our people should join Cassava Association of Nigeria. They're giving out 250,000 loan to cassava farmers to boost the production of cassava flour for bread. So because the government is trying to substitute wheat for cassava, 5%. So we've been encouraging our people to partake, but some of them don't.
For non-food application, cassava can be used in the manufacturing of cassava starch, pellets and chips for animal consumption. Also, it can be used for biofuel and for making particle boards. A As far as the Cross River State experience goes, there's an obvious need for an intensification of enlightenment campaigns in rural communities to increase awareness on government's packages available to those farmers who may not have direct access to information from the media.
Now you're talking.
And now to the arts. The National Troupe of Nigeria is eager to play a greater role in the peace and unity in the country, by taking the message beyond Lagos. Now, the group has been traveling to various parts of the country to showcase top-notch performances, urging youth who have got talent to see art as a lucrative business. Artistic director of the troupe, Akinade Juwon, told our arts correspondent, Belinda Akinlami, that if possible, the troupe will have gone to conflict areas in the northeast to encourage boots on the ground and victims who've been displaced from their homes by the violence.
It's a path the National Troupe has never trod before. First stop, Kogi State, north-central Nigeria, where Lokoja, the state capital, and Kaba are the two communities that will be the first recipients of this message, captured in Ajoyo, a celebration of the arts. Day one in Lokoja met with some feeding problems. Residents failed to turn out in their numbers, but the artists are not deterred as the show must go on. The conflict in the art world played out here is used as a metaphor for the big picture, the need to address real-life issues and realize that strength lies in unity. In Kaba, the crew draws lessons from the Lokoja experience and decides to embark on a guerrilla publicity to have a full house. This kind of stunt usually plays out in community theatre, but the National Troupe had to go this road because the people have a major role to play for this project to achieve its objectives.
It's like taking us back to the roots where theatre all started from in terms of publicity, where you go about making noise, inviting people, using your voice as a megaphone.
When night falls, they are not disappointed. A large crowd gathers, enjoys moonlight tales, and interacts freely with the cast in what looks like a traditional African theatre. If Kaba was great, it was all uphill from there, from Ado Ekiti to Iye Ekiti in Ekiti State. The message is not limited to the man on the streets. The Ivory Tower gets some practical lessons from the performance at the University of Ilorin in Kwara State. At every stop, the man driving this vision, the artistic director of the National Troupe of Nigeria, Mr. Akinade Juwon, is always reminding the audience about the message, while urging the youths to try out a career in the arts. He admits that reviving live traveling theatre may be expensive, but the troupe needs to do more to impact the country.
We're going all over the country. I even boasted to the military high hierarchy that we would be glad to go to Michika and Sambisa Forest. You know. So, and sincerely, they're quite excited. They've had some shows planned for us in the peacekeeping areas of Sudan.
So it's done deal with Kogi, Ekiti and Kwara State. The team turns its steps homewards in order to take a breather and brace up for the new year, where the next tour will be taking them to the eastern parts of the country. Melinda Akinlami, Channels Television News.
Also on the arts, Black Market is an exhibition by Pravidon Matthias at the Ash Gallery in Lagos. With installations and paintings, this show explores the subject of fuel scarcity and man's ability to hoard in the midst of plenty. On Art Review tonight, we take a look at Black Market by Pravidon Matthias.
One young artist who is fascinated with this imagery is Pavidan Matthias. He captured it in this exhibition tagged Black Market at the Osh Gallery, Lagos.
So I created an effect in the sense of the whole scarcity, the whole idea of queue. And then I looked for an iconic image, and that's the downfall buses. So I used the jerrycan simplicity to just illustrate how terrible this whole queue is. So the downfall are all queued up, going, and you know how unorderly the downfall people are. But they're all queued up, going, ranging all the way to the drawings.
The jerrycan is his primary tool, and it's no surprise considering what he intends to achieve.
The process was intended to create faces, a reaction out of my people, especially Nigerians that are going through this hardship of scarcity. So the process was creating a masked-like type of face of them and then adding pressure onto these forms. So I used a burning process to deform and distort them.
Which is being, seen from a very psychological angle, the need for man to always hoard, even in the midst of plenty. So it's a natural human vice. It's inherent in everybody to always think about themselves first. But on a larger scale, the negatives are more than the positives.
He uses this thought-provoking subject to drive his message home as he strategically creates a scenario where the viewer is subconsciously drawn into an organized disharmony of props, drawings, lighting, and text, engaging with his rebuilding of the black market.
Based on the subject matter, I made an experiment of taking handkerchiefs and soaking it in petrol and bleeding it over and over again over a canvas so it twirled together. And this particular experiment worked because I've always been fascinated, always looking at the aspect of how black marketers use handkerchiefs and other processes to create effects on the jerrycans that we use or run to go and buy petrol from.
The work creates a link between the domino effect of the unavailability of petrol and other salient realities that upset the everyday life of a Nigerian.
My influences basically are from the Dada period, Marcel Duchamp, and Banksy is a contemporary artist too in the UK right now. I was influenced by the Dada movement because during the First World War, or right after, they discovered that all functions and disciplines of our society were not working. So they broke free from the concept and the body of your traditional arts and used found objects to express themselves. So I am using found objects to express the discomfort, the feeling that I get based on scarcity. So these found objects, I used jerrycan as my major canvas to explain and illustrate this because every one of us in Nigeria, whether you're rich, whether you are poor, whether you're in the middle class, wherever you are, in whatever discipline you find yourself, we all have jerrycans in our homes.
This theme caught the eye of the African Artists Foundation. That's why he was picked to be a part of the Maker New Contemporaries, a platform created for young artists to showcase their portfolios to the world. The Osh Gallery, which opened its doors to host this lot, is also eager to see this young hand grow.
Next on the news at 10, the Kabul police chief quits after an attack on foreigners in Afghanistan. Please stay with us.